Many crimes happen around the world every day, but the most remain unsolved. These offenses range from minor offenses like shoplifting and minor car accidents to more serious offenses like sexual assault and murder. One crime that takes place regularly around the world is the drug-related crime. They usually keep their activities secret to avoid publicizing their insights and techniques. Still, some of the seizures were big enough to make headlines. Here are the top 10 of the biggest and famous drug seizures of all time. Number 10. The Mexican Drug Tunnel. We start this list with a classic, as there are many instances of drug shipments between Mexico and the United States through underground tunnels. In 2016, 1.1 tons of marijuana and 2.2 tons of cocaine were discovered and confiscated in a tunnel between the Mexico and US borders. The tunnel between Otay Mesa and Tijuana is considered the longest discovered tunnel of its kind, being nearly half a mile long. This amount of drugs is estimated to be worth $61 million. Number 9. The Colombian Banana Farm. Pablo Escobar's drug activities are not the only drug-related incidents in Colombia. In 2016, a whopping 8.8 tons of cocaine was seized with an estimated value of $240 million. The drugs were discovered in an underground hole at a banana farm in the Caribbean city of Turbo, less than 300 miles from Bogota, Colombia's capital. This is the largest drug seizure in Colombia, and it's believed that the cocaine belonged to the notorious Usaga clan, known for their involvement in drug trafficking. Number 8. The Saudi Arabia's amphetamine pills. In Saudi Arabia in 2014, 6 people were arrested after trying to smuggle 22.6 million amphetamine pills into the country. They had hidden the pills inside rolls of plastic and wrapped in barbed wire. The value of such a large amount of amphetamine pills is estimated at about $267 million. It is not known what sentence the 6 people received from courts in Saudi Arabia, but in drug trafficking and drug use, the sentence in Saudi Arabia is usually execution. Number 7. The Australian Operation Aussie X. One of the largest ecstasy seizures in history was carried out in Australia. In 2008, the Australian Federal Police stabbed a Melbourne-based ecstasy delivery man. The police seized drugs consisted of 15 million MDMA pills, weighed 4.4 tons, and had a value of $309 million. The drugs were imported from Italy in 3,000 cans of tomatoes and arrived at the Melbourne docks. It is also believed that the drugs belonged to the Italian mafia. Number 6. The Afghan military bunkers. In 2008, large amounts of hashish were found in underground military bunkers in Afghanistan. This amount amounted to 260 tons of hashish, which is the weight of 40 buses. The value of this amount was $376 million. To destroy this amount of drugs, the army took a rather unusual route. They conduct an airstrike to destroy the bunkers, as that would ultimately destroy the drugs quickly. Number 5. The Mexican Cowabungle. Operation Cowabungle was the largest in Mexican history. The operation resulted in the seizure of 105 tons of marijuana worth $425 million. The reason for the finding and seizure of this quantity of drugs was unusual, because instead of hiding the drugs as best as possible so as not to attract attention, they were packed in colorful packages with pictures of famous cartoon characters. One of them was Homer Simpson from The Simpsons. He popped into the picture shouting, "I'm going, friend." It was no wonder those responsible were caught and jailed. Number 4. The UK's biggest haul. In April 2015, the largest drug seizure in UK history took place, leading to the arrest of 2 Turkish men who later pleaded guilty to attempting to smuggle 3.2 tons of cocaine into the UK. This drug shipment was worth about $697 million. The discovery was made when the 2 officials searched a Tanzanian-registered vessel in the port of Aberdeen. When the ship was thoroughly searched, the large hidden quantity of drugs was discovered. It is believed that at this smuggling attempt were involved the Albanian and Turkish mafia. Number 3. The Texas Double Bust. In 1989, Texan authorities conducted a double bust. The first bust was a ship off the Texas coast, and the authorities found 5 tons of cocaine on board. In a related bust on the same day, a further 9 tons of cocaine was found in the house of a suspected drugs kingpin. It is believed that the cocaine had originated in Colombia, so the bust was a huge pain for the drug lords in this country. It is estimated, making it one of the most successful seizures in the history of the United States. The total value of the cocaine was in the region of $1 billion. Number 2. the Australian-German sea container. Amphetamines are the most popular drugs in Australia. These drugs are potentially deadly, and Australian authorities are trying to catch the drugs before they hit the streets. In November 2014, they seized a large amount of 2.8 tons of methamphetamine pills. These had arrived in Australia via a sea container from Hamburg in Germany. The pills had an estimated value of $1.5 billion. It is believed that this drug belonged to the Italian mafia and were smuggled into that container by their allies, the Albanian mafia. Number 1. The Californian Cartel Kingpin. The foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains were home to Rafael Munoz Talavera, a cocaine cartel king. In 1989, 21 tons of cocaine were seized from a storage facility, although this was a small change compared to the 77 tons that passed through the warehouse last year. This amount of seized drugs was worth $13 billion. The amount of drugs seized was enough for every resident of the United States to snort about 6 lines of cocaine. That was all from this list. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for more stuff like this. Any suggestions are welcome in the comments. Until next time, see you.